14 daring houses. Where do you live? Maybe in a nice, quaint little house with a white picket fence, or maybe up in a high-rise apartment in the big city. Either way, we can guarantee you your houses look nothing like some of these on this list. And if they do, invite us over for dinner and drinks. Number 14, the Stall House. Los Angeles, California houses more rich and famous citizens than any other in the world, and the insane houses built into the cliffs of Hollywood and Beverly Hills are a direct reflection of that. Upon visiting, tourists can easily spot a gorgeous hillside mansion and inquire, "I wonder if that belongs to someone famous." The Stall House became such a landmarked site in LA culture that it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2013, much to many surprise. The house was not built by a movie star at all, but in 1959 as part of a case study houses program. Many television programs and movies have been filmed here, such as Whoopi Goldberg's 1994 film Karina Karina. Excitingly, it is open to the public for guests to view its amazing rooms and furniture, including a funny wooden plaque that says, "No one famous ever lived here." Number 13, Razor's Edge. The Razor House in California was used as inspiration for Tony Stark's elaborate home in Iron Man. While Tony may have been creating ways to save the world in his pad, not much excitement happens in the La Jolla Razor House. It was originally listed at $45 million, but a 47-year-old real estate investor was able to get a pretty good deal when he bought it in 2011. Thanks to the collapse of the economy and housing market, it was sold for only $14 million. Wow, what a bargain. Number 12, Cliff House. The Cliff House in San Francisco, California is historic, to say the very least. If you think it's a wonder to look at now, just think about how architecturally advanced it was for the year it was built, 1858. Over its rich history, it has been torn down and rebuilt in the exact same location numerous times. One of the most notable events that occurred here was the first transmission of Morse code in 1859. It's been victim to multiple accidents and natural occurrences, such as the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, shipwrecks, and destructive fires. For example, in 1887, a ship crashed into the building, and one of the explosives aboard the ship accidentally detonated. This caused massive yet repairable damage. However, the entire Cliff House was burned down by a terrible fire on Christmas night in 1894. The most famous rendition of the Cliff House was built in 1896 by a wealthy man named Adolphe Sutro. It was modeled after a classic Victorian chateau and was 7 stories high, bringing in guests by large droves. Unfortunately, it was also lost to a fire only 11 years after it was built. It was rebuilt yet again, but in a smaller neoclassical design. Through all of the turmoil, the Cliff House's reputation has managed to survive. We wish they'd rebuild it back to its Victorian brilliance. Number 11, Mushroom House. And yet again, we bring you to another gorgeous California home. The Mushroom House may be close friends with the Razor home, because it's also located in La Jolla, California. It was built for the mogul of Bell's potato chips, Sam Bell, in 1968. Bell wanted to build a guest house, so he decided to build one below a 300-foot cliff, underneath his main home. He then designed a tramway from his house to the guest house and on the beach. Its shape was meant for safety purposes, so that it's able to weather maritime storms and earthquakes. No one is allowed inside the house, which makes its intrigue all the more enticing. Number 10, Steel House. When you think of all the materials that people use to build the exteriors of houses, you typically think of wood, brick, stone, or even concrete. But rarely ever do you think of dark red, rusty steel. If there were homes on Mars, they might just look like this. The Steel House is an actual domestic home to sculptor Robert Bruno. He worked tireless hours to construct the perfect home, made of 150 tons of steel. Tragically, he passed away in 2008, before he could see the building to its full completion. The spacecraft-looking home now sits unfurnished and unoccupied in the middle of rural Texas, in Ransom County. Number 9, Manarola, Italy. The multicolored homes of Manarola, Italy are picture-perfect and daring as ever. They sit so close together on this rocky cliff that you can imagine how close the homeowners here must be to their neighbors. The town of Manarola is a charming fishing town in Italy, located in the Clinique Terre region, and it has history as well. It is allegedly the oldest medieval town founded in the 12th century. There are multiple hiking and walking trails that tourists and Italians alike can enjoy above the town, along with many opportunities to enjoy local wine. You'd think this town would at least have one beach to enjoy, but it's all cliff, fishing boats, and docks. If you plan on going on an Italian vacation anytime soon, we're extremely jealous of you. Make it a point to visit this cliffside town. Number 8, Castifoy de la Roca. Ah, España. These village homes sit on top of a 160-foot basalt crag wall and a small waterfall. That's a double whammy. Astonishingly, this town has been inhabited for over 1,000 years. The entire city was built by volcanic rock. Its most notable church, the St. Salvador Church, was built in the 13th century, but it was destroyed and rebuilt on the other side of town. Its main body still stands, however, as a historical landmark. Number 7. Cuenca, Spain. The Castilla Valle de la Roca is not the only place in Spain with homes raised high above the ground. The hanging houses in Cuenca, Spain, are a wonder to look at. Most of the remaining homes are only 2 to 3 stories high, but for obvious reasons, they appear to be much taller. They were built during the 15th century expansion of the town in Cuenca, Spain, about 85 miles east from the capital of Madrid. At the time, some reached up to 7 or 8 stories high in order to house even more people. They were restored in the 20th century, so as to protect the well-being of the common families that live inside them. Number 6. The Chemosphere. The name of this house is just as futuristic as it looks, the Chemosphere. It's located in Los Angeles, California. Surprise, surprise. It was declared a Los Angeles Historical Cultural Monument in 2004. Its octagonal design is modernist, but it also serves to protect the house from earthquakes. It caused quite a stir when it was constructed 30 feet above the ground in 1960. It sits on top of a 45-degree slope in an area that's extremely vulnerable to quakes. It has most certainly gotten attention from the Hollywood movie makers, as it's appeared in multiple films like Charlie's Angels. Number 5. House on the Cliff. The House on the Cliff is the masterpiece of architect Frank Sylvester, and it's located in Alicante, Spain. On the website ArcDaily, the architect said of the house, an abrupt plot of land overlooking the sea, where what is best to do nothing. It invites to stay. A piece that respects the land's natural contour is set in it. Above, a shadow, the house itself, looking calmly at the Mediterranean. The design of the home is fairly simple, but the views are worth it. Everything inside and out is completely white, but luckily the homeowner of this place could likely add a pop of color if they wanted to. But is it owned? That's still a mystery. Allegedly, it was only built for $800,000, which really isn't that bad compared to some of the other places on this list. Number 4. Falling Water. Located southeast of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, lies the Falling Water House, or the Kaufman Residence. It's actually built on top of a waterfall, on Bear Run. This place is a mecca to American architects. It's been voted into the Smithsonian's list of 28 places to visit before you die. And in 1991, it was given the honored award of Best All-Time Work of an American Architect. It was built as a weekend getaway home for the Kaufman family of Kaufman's department store in 1935. There were reported disputes between the owner and the architect, Frank Lloyd Wright, but fortunately, the house was built. Adjusted for inflation, it cost around $2.7 million to make. We're glad the two men worked it out, because the Falling Water House has been a treasure to Pennsylvania for many years. In 2002, it was restored for $11 million. Nowadays, tours are offered of the house. Number 3. Just a Vision. Upon first glance, this easily appears to be a superhero or evil villain's secret lair. This house hasn't been built yet. It's the photoshopped architectural genius image of visualizingarchitecture.com's Alice Horfergy. He explains how he crafted the design through a series of 9 steps. One of the most important aspects of getting the image to look so real was making sure the dark atmosphere had just the right amount of fog. He says of the task, "The key here is to be subtle. It's easy to overdo it with the fog and the clouds, but with this image, I just wanted to give a hint of some fog rolling in from the ocean." He's received much praise and enthusiasm in the comments section, with remarks like, "Bra freaking vo," and "The Photoshop or composition skills are very good. You have a good eye, no doubt about that." Number 2. Modscape Marvel. As much as we all love strange architecture and surprisingly giant Mini Coopers, the house depicted in this image might just be a pipe dream. Apart from not being able to afford it, we really can't be sure if it's real at all. After all, there's no way an eroding cliff could safely support a 5-story all-glass building. A more practical way of building is like this one, with a strong support and circular cement shape. Modscape.com virtually designed this building and posted it on their blog, and we most certainly hope it gets made, but only if it's safe. Thanks for staying until the end. We have one more daring home to show you. But first, here are just a few comments. We love our commenters, so keep them coming. Number 1. Those who live in glass houses. We think this lake house is daring because it's built onto a cliff and its south side is completely covered in glass. As pictured here, you can see the stunning windows that reach all the way from the top to the bottom of the home. We can't imagine how much money is spent on Windex here. All of the exposed rooms make it look like a real-life dollhouse. The 8,694 square foot 5-story home is nestled right into the nature of Incline Village in Crystal Bay, Nevada. Homeowners and guests can enjoy gorgeous views of Nevada's Lake Tahoe from literally every room in the house. Well, except the bathroom. As of 2014, the house was still unowned, but available for a measly $43 million. Sheesh.